Back again. Man, I'm tired. Worked hard today. So, yeah, kind of low energy, so I'm just gonna jump right in here without a lot of preamble. Here's the world map. Just gonna look around. Seems like I always go down and to the left, and then I go over to the right. I'm trying to like break my normal patterns so that I don't end up just focusing on one specific area in Second Life. This is interesting. It's a private sim, but it has a big chunk of land for sale on it. Lots of people. After my experience, whenever that was, the last stream, number 6 I think it was, with going to that private sim where there was a bunch of people. Well, I wouldn't say a bunch, there was like 2 people, and they were not exactly thrilled to have me going into their house and snooping around. So I'm gonna try to avoid sims that have a lot of people on them, just because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. Also, in addition to trying to avoid sims with a lot of traffic, I'm also going to do like a just sort of a visual inspection of the sim before I try to teleport there, just because also the last couple of sims I went to were pretty boring, and like I was just thinking about this sim right here, and then I was like, it's just a bunch of blank space with this small little area that's been developed. So I kind of want to try to avoid that, because my gut feeling is that those sims are going to be pretty disinteresting for the most part. And I find this funny, like, sims are often called islands in Second Life, like when you buy one and say like it's a private island, and yet it's not really an island per se. I mean, yeah, this surrounding area is water basically, which is kind of interesting. I've never thought about that before, but all this blue area around the sims is water, so I guess they are kind of like islands. They're just really weird islands because they're, you know, like perfectly square. But often you'll see this sort of like suggestive isle, like either as a prefix or a suffix, that people title their sims like they really were islands, when actually they're quite a bit different than islands. I'm not quite sure what's going on in this particular sim. I'm kind of curious because of this. It almost looks like mosaicing or something, where there's a lot going on, but it's been kind of like blurred out. So I'm gonna see if I can go to Isle of Serenity here, just because I'm curious. No valid parcels. So there's something weird with that particular sim. Like I couldn't even teleport there. I've noticed sometimes the world map isn't updated like in real time. This is like a snapshot of Second Life at some particular point in time, and so sometimes the sim will completely be erased, but it'll still show up on the world map. Citadel, that just seems, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here, but I kind of don't really want to go here because it just sounds like an RP sim. But I think I might anyway, just because it's looks pretty developed. Like 3 main islands with some kind of like bridge connecting them, and there's just one person on the sim, so it does seem like a kind of a good candidate. So let's try Citadel. Alright, so that one's private, and I couldn't even go there because the sim owners don't allow it. Musing Meadows. This sounds kind of interesting. Well, this looks so familiar. I know they're like you can actually buy complete sim layouts online, where basically it's like an entire freaking sim, like pre-developed, like with everything. Even the terrain, like the terraforming, is like predetermined. Honestly, I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but somebody must. As always, keep in mind the chat is open, so if you're watching along with me and you're like, oh, that item or whatever looks cool, I'd like to know who made it or whatnot, then oh, that's a nice saw. Then just put it into the chat and I'll do this. I'll do this inspection. So this is kind of cool. The creator and the owner are the same person. You don't always see that. Which I think this is actually like a shop of some sort, and I probably teleported into a landing spot. Yeah, so this looks like a merchant's shop where they have a few items for sale. Some merchants do this. I've always found it kind of mysterious, to be honest, because it's so expensive to maintain a physical presence in Second Life, and that's just stealing away your precious lindens. But if you're big and popular enough to pull it off, then it makes financial sense. It never did for me, though. This is a pretty nice little magazine rack. Same person. Wow, 12 years. I'm really just consistently impressed with how many people or items that I inspect, and I see the owner, and they have been in Second Life for a long time. It's a nice phone model. This person has a fair amount of skill. You can tell a really good balance. I'm just inspecting this model kind of quickly, but a really good balance between polygon use and fidelity. So like, yeah, that takes a lot of skill, because a lot of newbie artists, what'll happen is they will make everything super high poly because they just don't know any better. Professional 3D artists will use just the right amount of polygons to communicate the visual information without losing sort of the ultimate sense of the fidelity. If you want to come see the sim for yourself, whoops, I got that accent mark in there. I'm putting the link over in the live stream chat so you can check it out. But keep in mind, like, I'm doing a stream, so if you do come and try to interact with me in the world, I'm not really gonna be very responsive, because I'm trying to do a stream. So I would like to talk to you with and interact, but just not while I'm working on this particular project. Some other time. This is really nice. I like this little garden display here. It's very innovative, and this appeals to me in particular because of I'm a gardener and a farmer, so I'm very familiar with all of these tools. This little hand rake thing, though, is like one of the most useless tools in gardening. Like, we never use those ever. I mean, that level of fine tuning is pretty unheard of in actual gardening. This is an interesting tool. I've never seen one of these in real life, but that's a neat tool. Not sure exactly what it's supposed to do. Some kind of furrower. Another thing you can tell about the quality of this 3D artist is the mix of ultra thin and ultra thick parts of each model. that's another sign of like professional quality, because a lot of times newbies who are 3D modeling what they'll do is everything will be more or less the same scale, and that usually means too thick, without any real like thin elements. Like if you look at items in real life, you'll quickly discover that they're almost always a mix of very thin and very thick, and very rarely are all the parts the same scale. This is really nice details on the. We've got the normal mapping here to show the holes where the lines going through. Nice clothespins. Wow, those are great. Use the normal maps there to simulate the details of the holes through the clothespins. That's really solid normal mapping work. Like, I'm very impressed with that. Also, just kind of a neat prop. So I'm thinking this whole sim is probably some kind of like store. Let me just take a look. The domino effect, home and garden goods and accessories. So yeah, the sim's owned by or at least the section that I'm on. I'm not sure how much of the sim. I think the whole sim is owned by Domino, but I don't know. I've never heard of Domino. I've never seen their work on the marketplace, but I'm sure it's there, and just having a look at the quality of the assets on the sim, I'm really impressed, and I'm actually really grateful that I completely randomly selected this particular sim, because not only is it in my wheelhouse, so to speak, but it also kind of the aesthetic is appealing to me as well. Little wheelbarrow tipped over there. Man, I had one of those fall on my foot one time. It was full of soil, and oh my god, I thought my toe was broken. My big toe is where it landed, and it was bruised so bad the nail fell off. It was really horrible. Hey, look at this, a sawhorse. That's ironic. I just modeled one of these. This is a nice sawhorse. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that everything is a Domino creation. I like that clever use of the French too. This is interesting. I love how with the inspection mode you can actually see the polygons. So that gives you sort of some insight into how the object is structured, like whether or not the polygons are all intersecting, or if they're just overlaid on top of each other like this is. It's basically a compound object. This is a really solid sawhorse design, and quite a bit simpler than the one that I ended up modeling in Second Life. It's a nice pile of Douglas fir 2x4s and plywood sheets, particle board, nice little chair. Fluorescent lights. Huh. That's pretty good. I made a fluorescent light for Second Life a while back. It wasn't this articulated. It didn't have this much detail. This is a really nice detail in this. But what it did have that this one didn't is individual removable bulbs and light scripting too. Which this doesn't seem to be scripted, but maybe it is. Here's a light switch. Let me try. Doesn't seem to be activating the lights. It's really common for creators in Second Life to have a fairly limited skill set. So like, either you're a really good modeler or a really good scripter or a really good motion capture / animation person. So it's pretty rare that you come across a creator in Second Life who is really good at scripting and modeling and motion capture and everything else. And in which case, if you were to see one of their items demonstrated, you'd be really impressed, because it would be like, not only would it look really good, but it would be interactive, like a fluorescent light that you could click on. Oh, okay, the lights do have a control. I really need to to make sure I'm paying attention over here, because this wouldn't be the first time that I've missed. Oh yeah, there you go, the lights turned on. Nice, nice. Yeah, good job on the glow balance too. There, it's not like overbearing, so it looks fairly realistic. Although it looks like it's an omnidirectional instead of a point-based light. I actually used shadow projection maps in my textures to simulate more realism of direct point lights instead of just omnidirectional lighting. Like these rocks. These rocks are nice. They got specular and normal and all the maps. Really good texture and good resolution too. Making organic shapes like this, let's just take a quick look at the geometry. Oh yeah, see, that's pretty high poly. Pretty high poly geometry for what's a more or less a pretty simple rock structure, but those are nice and solid. It's not like you're losing any sort of resources with the. They're still well within like a reasonable poly count, I would say, for something like that. And it looks like the LODs are pretty solid too on these objects, not losing a lot of fidelity as I zoom out. That's another like critical thing to pay attention to in Second Life in terms of model quality, because if your LODs are too high def, then the land impact is like astronomical. I'd actually kind of like to buy one of these objects just to see that's got a full animation override where it animates your avatar. Ooh, nice cooler. That ice is very kind of like semi-realistic. I like it. Yeah, and let me just reiterate again. I don't do this for money. I don't know any of these people. I pick a sim completely at random. So this is what you see is what you get. This isn't like pre-arranged or anything. Yeah, I'd say so far just for casual inspection. My one critique of this modeler so far. That's a nice boat. Boats are hard. You'd think they wouldn't be, but they actually kind of are. My one critique so far is that the texture mapping is just mildly subpar, which honestly is totally understandable. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, texture mapping is absolutely one of the hardest. That's really reasonable. 400 lindens for this build here. Yeah, texture mapping is without a doubt one of the hardest things to do well as a 3D modeler. I mean, I feel like I suck at it. I mean, I'm horrible. I'm a horrible texture artist. And I've been like trying for years to like get myself up to the next level and just not really getting any closer. Oh, won't you open for me, little box? Little cabinet. But it won't open. Oh, I see, there's glass. I thought it was like closed, but yeah, you can see right inside. That's another thing that's a super pain in the ass to script things to open. Oh my god, it's like a nightmare. That's kind of cool. There's a mini version and then a full-size version. This is like messing with my head. But actually, I like that. Yeah, so the This is totally like one of my pet peeves when it comes to texture mapping, and you'll see this all the time. Once I explain it to you, you'll never be able to unsee it. Like, you'll see it all the time afterwards. So close your ears if you don't want to get red pilled on texturing. So like, what people do often is they will create a grayscale base texture for an object that is ultimately textured with color and tone, with a lot of diverse color and tone that is subtle but still present. So for example, like if you look at the wood texture here, you're just like, there's something just a little bit off about it. It doesn't look quite right. There's just something wrong with the color, and that's because they took a grayscale wood photorealistic texture and then they tinted it a specific color, so the entire texture is tinted one tone, in which case it just reads as flat and it lacks all of the complexity and sophistication of the original color version of that photorealistic texture. Now the benefit is that then you can go and tint it like a different color of brown, a darker brown, a lighter brown, and it's like, oh, suddenly it's like you have 4 different types of wood, when in reality it's like the same wood. In this case, it looks like it's 3 different types of wood that the original photographic texture came from, and each one of those has just been tinted to simulate a specific type of wood. And getting back to what I was saying before, this is a really nice fan. That's my one critique of this 3D artist, is that they have used that technique, that tinting, grayscale texture techniques many times, in which case, wow, really amazing job on the beams. I'm really just loving the beams in these cabins. That's really nice. Really nice work on those beams. I feel like this is a safe house, you know, that you can live in, and even if there's like 30 feet of snow on top of it, it's not gonna collapse and crush me. So yeah, but anyway, all that was like very beyond words, huh? Very minor critique. Because like I was saying, texture mapping is just so freaking hard. You really have to be at the top of your game. Yeah, this is a little overdone in here, like a giant beam every like 18 inches. You could have like 3,000 elephants sitting on top of this little alcove here and it wouldn't collapse. Oh, that's a cool effect. Huh, it's like a shoji panel only on the ceiling. Oh cool, the window's open. That's a really nice touch. Yeah, I'm a major stickler for... Did I go into every room? I think so. I'm a major stickler for physical... I wouldn't say accuracy. Accuracy is a strong word, but at least sort of a loose, kind of vague adherence to reality. Like, I don't think in any universe would a construction worker use that many beams in a room of that size. But it's an aesthetic, so, you know, whatever. It's up to the artist to make these calls. Just me, personally, my preference is for things to look more physically realistic, like, yeah, just kind of like they would in real life. Oh wow, this is incredible right here. I'm just looking at this brick wall, which is like gorgeous. And, like this little door in it, and it looks like a modular wall too, like made up of sections that can be combined. And this, yeah, I'm really liking this little door here. That's great. Creaks open. This is really beautiful work. Let's see, Victorian walled garden pathway. Land impact ranges 1 to 3. So I guess each piece is like 1 to 3. Okay. Yeah, so these are the modular sections, so you can build your own walled garden. 5 land impact. Doorway. Windows. So see, the windows are over here, these little arches. Oh, nice. They don't open, which is fine, but yeah, this is beautiful. Park bench. 300 lindens. This is nice. I might make a purchase here. I don't know if I've ever bought anything in world from a store before. I actually wanted to make one of these park benches in this style for years in Second Life, and I just like never got around to it. And of course it has like all these animations and stuff too built in. That's pretty cool. Let's see if you can purchase directly from the Nice. That was nice and easy. I don't know if I will ever res it anywhere, but who knows. My cat's chewing on my microphone right now. Oh, you're a good boy, aren't you, May? Uh-oh, he's stepping on the keyboard. Come on now, boy. Ugh. Yes, disappear when I click on your chat window. Ugh, what if I want to get out of this room in a hurry? Yeah, so this is an impressive development, no matter how you look at it, especially since it seems to be just all one person in their creations. Like, I did the Second Life marketplace creator shop owner thing for like 3 years, pretty much, and it is not in any way easy. It is just, it's brutal, it's a slog, razor margins, like, intense pressure on you to, like, build new and interesting things that are not just, you know, cliches or stuff that the marketplace is already saturated with. And at the end of the day, you basically are just getting, like, pennies on the dollar for considering the amount of time and effort that you put into things. I mean, I'd spend like, you know, like 20 hours working on something that then I just couldn't solve for any more than like 99 lindens or less. Well, this ivy, obviously a lot of effort was put into this, but the masking of the leaves was not done well, and so the effect is actually not good. So botanicals really hard, honestly, just like with the texture mapping. Is this a 2-story? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so these are just demo homes, so they're all empty inside, which is cool. I mean, honestly, I think they'd probably sell better if they were full of items. Oh, I missed a room. Especially since it seems like, oh, this door's not opening. Let's see what's on the other side. Just another room. Yeah, so anyway, you gotta give mad props to any single person proprietor who owns a shop in Second Life, because it's not an easy thing. Getting close to the 30-minute mark here, and as I said before, my streams are only going to be about 30 minutes on average. It's a pretty nice stone wall. A bit murky there in the middle, though. I think the texture maybe just hasn't rezzed yet. Looks good from a distance, but when you zoom in, it kind of loses fidelity. Actually, it looks great from a distance. It's kind of an intriguing characteristic. They call that dry stone, or church, or chapel. Those stained glass windows are pretty phoned in, to be honest, but oh my god, stained glass is so hard. I made one stained glass window fully articulated in Second Life, and like I was like, after I was done with it, I was like, never again. Like, I did everything, even the lead solder joining each individual piece of glass was like a fully articulated 3D object. So yeah, I can understand someone not wanting to go to that degree, because like you gotta choose what to focus on is what it comes down to in Second Life. When you're a designer, like a shop owner, because if you don't pick and choose your battles, you know, you end up spending hours and hours on like one little detail that people are just gonna gloss over. It's a nice bridge. It's a really nice bridge. Lots of functional, like, oh, this is great. Summer pergola. What? 179? That's like a steal. That's a great deal. And, yeah, I can see why the price is so low, though. It's kind of bare bones. But I love this aesthetic where it's just like birch, plywood, like bare plywood unpainted. It's pretty nice. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to get through this whole sim in half an hour, but maybe my SO will let me go a little bit longer today if I'm lucky, if she comes out and is giving me the cutthroat gesture that I have to end the stream. Looks like the person was getting a little bit bored with doing all the sort of gothic mansions, and so they made this sort of like modern house. These are nice. They did a great job on the wood textures aside from that color tint issue. This is nice. What's this? So it's a villa. 2,250. That's reasonable, given all of the interactive elements and like lighting control systems. We've got these switches, and you click on the switch, and the menu comes up. I don't know what all lights that turned on. Yeah, once again, really nice work on the beams. You have to kind of wonder, like, do people like look up blueprints for stuff like this and then model according to the blueprints, or do they just like wing it and like, oh, that's interesting. Those glass bricks came out in like the 70s, I think. It's kind of weird to see them in like a Spanish style villa, but not inconceivable by any means. I like these greenhouses. And there's like a bunch of tabletop furniture inside too that you can buy, which is cool. I didn't really look at everything in there. I'm just kind of doing a quick scan of all these things. Sunroom. It's pretty nice. This reminds me of a greenhouse at the local botanical gardens, which is actually not quite as nice as that, but here we go. The rustic Ted Kaczynski Unabomber cabin. Nice little stove. Honestly, that seems pretty high price to me, but you know, sometimes I gotta give you a little insight into being a creator in Second Life. There's certain items that just are agony to produce. Like, for whatever reason, you just have a really hard time with them, and they give you a lot of grief. Nice articulation on this gutter. That's great. Yeah, so you tend to price those higher because it's like, yeah, this like blood, sweat, and tears that it took for me to create this thing. I'm not gonna like sell it for 5 cents. I'm gonna sell it for $1, even if it's not worth that. Just because, you know, you've got your like pride and professionalism as an artist, as a human being, really. Because like, what are artists really? Artists are like the whipping boys of the creative muse that lives inside of us and tortures us. Yeah, so I could probably spend another hour and a half just looking at all these houses and stuff. There's a lot to see on this sim, so yeah, I definitely recommend going here yourself and just taking a look at all the stuff I missed. Like the stables over here. Oh, nice. Horse stables. This is really well articulated. Beautiful work on the beams. I'm just like oh wow, look at this. I put in the electrical conduit. The electrical box. Oh wow, even the little... Oh cool, that's like the control for the control panel for the lights. Is that? Yeah, that's fully articulated, and then use a normal map for the insignia on there. Wow, all the details. This is blowing my mind. I've done electrical work, so I've actually looked up all these parts and stuff. So this is like super impressive to me that they went and like wired the whole place authentically for electric. Like, that's blowing my mind, actually. I feel like this building has a little extra to it than the others. Like, this was like a labor of love. I mean, maybe the person, the artist, has an actual horse barn and they like just replicated it straight up from their own life experience, because this is beautiful work. It's my signature sound effect from the old days of Second Life. To saying hello to Pippi over there. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Let's see, how long have I been streaming for? Like 38 minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a close here in a couple of minutes. But this has been a fun stream for me. I can't fly out the window because they're not there's a physical barrier blocking. Oh, that trap door is really cool. Huh. Didn't even, you can only notice it from the bottom, really. Where are the horses, though? You know, I feel like there should have been horses in that barn. It just seems empty and weird somehow without horses. yeah, I wish I'd taken a little more time to mentally map out the sim in my mind before I started wandering around, because I'm certain that I missed a bunch of stuff, but I just I don't know where I missed it, so I'm probably just going to continue exploring on my own after I log off. But yeah, 40 minutes. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this stream, and stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing more of these in the future. Thanks for watching.